Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane. I have for you today a 1 versus 1 on Langres. Should be exciting in the southern corner. As the Americans, we have Massimilian, 29th Infantry Division, Able Company. In the north, we have as the Germans, Kjifsk. That's not really pronounceable, so it will be called Jif, Hauptmann Jif, aus Kampfgruppe Jif, Wehrmacht, so that should be interesting. Langres, of course, being a bit interesting in that it's somewhat divided up in two parts by a large dividing road, hedges providing some cover from numerous tanks and such, and we have these clusters of building providing some zones of control if machine guns can be placed, in particular this building being a very often used spot for machine guns, and of course this area is generally considered to be the hotspot of the map. So let's get this started. Wehrmacht quarters going up for Jif, Hauptmann Jif, and for the Americans, Major Massimilian, we have a barracks, so no weapon support center start. Always advisable to wait with that if you want to go for it. Engineers on the field, moving out slowly with their grease guns. M3, I believe the designation was, an attempt at copying the German MP40. In fact, a lot of attempts were made at that, including the British Sten gun was another attempt at that. In fact, the whole concept behind being a cheap, mass-producible submachine gun that was actually quite good. So from the northern part we have the Pioneers with their MP40s moving out. And in fact we only have one Pioneer squad for Jif. That's a bit odd, Jif. And we have something coming out from the Wehrmacht quarters, although what I can't say. And we finally have another Pioneer squad going out for Jif. Although he probably should have gone for one a bit earlier so he could have quickly seized some territory more early. Volksgrenadiers on the field, and of course the second Pioneer team and the lovely Volksgrenadier team, squad leader equipped with the Sturmgewehr 44, also known as the MP44 before it was officially designated as the Sturmgewehr, in an attempt to hide the project from der Führer himself, who was rather convinced that the good old bolt action rifle was enough. Anyhow, fighting going on. Volksgrenadiers seeking cover behind that hay bale. Riflemen closing in, taking some losses already from the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers taking some losses again, but the riflemen seem to be taking the worst of the beating. Another down and two left. Not retreating though. Volksgrenadiers barely holding out. Squad leader is down for the Volksgrenadiers and the Americans. Only one rifleman left and he dies shot in the gut, and the Volksgrenadiers pull back. A devastating loss for the Americans, though any early infantry team losses should generally be avoided, as that can be costly and cost you a lot, both in terms of early firepower but also early territory seizure. And we have something moving out from Hauptmann Jif's base, a Pioneer team. Volksgrenadiers under fire from a second rifleman team who's moving in, seeking cover once more behind the hay bales. And currently Major Massimilian has most of the map, whereas it does look a bit grim for Jif at this moment. Second rifleman team on the way and seizing this strategic point, which does allow access to this half of the map for the southern base. Small Mexican standoff right here, or I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but certainly engineers and pioneers looking evilly at each other. No one ready to make a move for fear of losing the cover advantage, but the riflemen, the engineers go for it, taking fire, and at the same time a Volksgrenadier movement going on in the center with a MG42 to back them up. Pulling back a bit, apparently a bit nervous for making any movements. Understandable. Volksgrenadiers not being assault troops, or really the most veteran of troops. Complete capture of the western territories is now within Massimilian's grasp, meaning he has a munitions and fuel advantage. Despite the loss of the early rifleman team, he has done quite well, it seems. Another rifleman team on the field. And something is going up for Hauptmann Jif of Kampfgruppe Jif. Pioneers seeking cover, firing out with their not awfully good MP40s at the riflemen, causing some damage but suffering heavy damage themselves. An unfair exchange, and the Volksgrenadiers just looking up in complete apathy while they're securing the munitions point. Minor fighting. Riflemen moving in from all angles, harassing and seizing territory wherever they can, in fact going for the larger fuel point under the command of Jif. Continuing to seize territory but stopping now, thankfully, otherwise those Volksgrenadiers were going to be brutally murdered by those riflemen. Volksgrenadiers on the field, and a sniper. Certainly sometimes since I've seen that in my replays, moving out to support the Volksgrenadiers and MG42 team. Let's see what this elite sniper will do for the Germans, taking out one rifleman already and lining up for a second shot on the riflemen, who continue despite the danger. One rifleman left in the grass, helmet knocked off. MG42 team seeking cover in the barn, hoping to suppress the American rifle team, and the other is holding out behind this farm building, probably trying to avoid anything while out, yet prevent the seizure of this building. And now under fire from the MG42 team that just barely spotted one of the members, and they are now pulling back. Sniper fire knocking out one, and a full retreat is forced on the deeply harassed rifleman team. And now the Germans are going out for a major territory seizure on both sides. Volksgrenadiers though taking heavy losses, and veteran C1 is up, meaning they do have first aid training. Further Volksgrenadier harassment in the center as well as they pull back under heavy fire. And in the east we see the riflemen trying to seize the fuel point but suffering losses to sniper and machine gun fire. Another being hit on the retreat. Sniper moving out, although perhaps not needed for him to be cloaked at the moment, since there's nothing to really threaten him. And while not cloaked, he can shoot and move faster. But Volksgrenadiers taking heavy losses, should consider retreating. Really should consider it, in fact, before they are lost. No, not out into the open. Riflemen taking sniper fire and Volksgrenadier fire. Fighting in the west. Pioneers forced to retreat. And it seems like that our friend Hauptmann Jif has 3 Volksgrenadier teams on the field. 3 Volksgrenadier teams. And we have a motor pool going up for Massimilian, opting to rush for a Greyhound and put some pressure on the Wehrmacht commander, who currently has no pack. In the west, the highly wounded and very lonely Volksgrenadier is seizing the fuel point, and now the armored car is moving ahead. Armored skirts on the way, a bit dangerous, but the Volksgrenadiers pull out, since Jif does not want to risk them. Sniper in the line of fire and now being hunted down. Machine gun going up for the armored car. Volksgrenadier is not doing much, and let's see what Hauptmann Jif is up to. Not an awful lot, it seems. All Volksgrenadiers are being pulled back due to the dire threat of the Greyhound pouncing upon the Volksgrenadiers and opening fire, and it looks like he has gone for the armored company, allowing him to use his light cars, armored cars and jeeps to seize territory, certainly an advantage, and can be used for harassment purposes. Volksgrenadiers moving out in force. Massimilian should be careful that they don't try and Panzerfaust the armored car. And it looks like a huge munitions expenditure. 2 rockets going up, but the third not being fired, thus allowing the armored car to get away in time. Volksgrenadiers moving out in the open cover. That is a bad idea. You really don't want to do that, since they will be taking full damage from everything, including those riflemen. But another rifleman team down from Massimilian, who wasn't quick enough to retreat them, it seems. And a wounded is out, and they now have BARs upgraded, allowing for additional firepower, which does make the rifleman teams more formidable on the offense and defense. A bit of a lull as territory is consolidated, and a Krieg barracks goes up for Hauptmann Jif. Massimilian's able company troops moving ahead, forcing away the Volksgrenadiers from the central victory point. Seeking cover behind some hedges, and among the hedge rows. Sniper fire taking out another rifleman. The sniper so far having 7 kills to his name. Volksgrenadiers ganging up on the riflemen who are taking continual fire, and the MG42 team having secured the farm building there. Further heavy fire on the riflemen, who are now using suppressive fire on the Volksgrenadiers, while the sniper still continues to pick off unsuspecting riflemen. And pioneers moving ahead, and the Volksgrenadiers really should consider moving away under all this heavy fire from the BARs and Greyhound, and a full retreat is once more instated. And we are seeing a Pack 38 going out for the Germans under Hauptmann Jif, and a Grenadier team as well, opting for something to replace the Volksgrenadiers, something a bit tougher and something able to dish out more damage. And the first pack is on the field. Shots fired. Connecting with the Greyhound, sending it scurrying away, unable to withstand any further shots from the German anti-tank gun. A bit of a lull once more, as nothing is going on, and the little bug where I can't actually see what's going on the tactical map on the other side after I switch sides is in action. So what's going on? Small lull as Massimilian is regrouping for another attack, and Hauptmann Jif moves his forces out to reconnect his territories and gain some fuel and munitions again. So far not much luck in gaining any territorial advantage for Mr. Jif. Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers along with sniper support moving south, probably going to go for this fuel point, denying Massimilian from some fuel, but a pioneer team is down to rifleman fire. At this point I might have considered setting up a medical bunker to minimize further losses and increase